First up, we got the large confinement box. Check it out. So this thing is a box with a bucket. Crazy stuff, I know. So the situation goes something like this. You're dragged into a room. This room has a relatively large box in it, maybe the size of a porta potty. One of the CIA dudes in front of you says, "This is going to be your home from now on." You have no idea what to believe. They shove you into the box, and you sit on the bucket. Then, they shackle you in place. And the next part is where the genius comes in. At this point, they leave you, and you just sit there for what could be weeks for all you know. As you sit there stewing, you're greeted by a wide variety of horrifying experiences. First, the smell, due of course to the bucket. Secondly, it gets like really warm in there, since it's a sealed container with a dude inside just generating body heat. So the smell, plus the heat, plus the darkness, not too fun. But this is nothing compared to what's coming next. Namely, the large confinement box's evil younger brother, the small confinement box. This one was just horrifying to read about. So it's this tiny sealed box that you're crammed inside. But unlike the large confinement box, there's no sitting down. Basically, it's constructed in such a way that you literally just can't get comfortable. It's too small to sit up in, but also too tight to curl into a ball. So you're stuck in this awkward little half curl. And you can imagine that even after a short amount of time, the pressure put on your muscles in this position is insane. One dude was left in there for 29 hours. That's over a day. It was reported that victims would scream unconsciously as their muscles contracted. But wait. You thought the magic ended there? Nah, the CIA knows just how to push you to your breaking point. They would reportedly blast music at deafening volumes into the box. Anything from Metallica to apparently the actual Barney the Dinosaur theme song. I think that'd be a cool career, being the guy who gets to choose the music to blast for the prisoner. Good career option for any job seekers watching. Apparently at one point, they also threw some cockroaches in there too, just for the heck of it. Jesus, no thank you. The core function behind that box is the insanely uncomfortable position that you're put in, which leads us nicely to our next method, stress positions. This was a whole branch of torture methods. I mean, advanced interrogation techniques, as they're so lovingly described. One thing they would do is shackle your arms to a bar, but like way above your head. So you'd have to stand like right on the tips of your toes. Your entire weight was on just one or two muscles. The experience starts with a small amount of pain, then it builds and builds, eventually leading to complete muscle failure. It's unimaginably painful. But that's not the limit of creativity of the CIA. Nah, not by a long shot. They would also do something called short shackling, where you'd be held in a squat or a fetal position for many hours. The squat especially puts a ton of stress on your knees and your quads. Often they're held in these positions for upwards of 40 hours. Imagine that. I think the hardest part is the not knowing when or if you'll be freed. It's pretty nightmarish. Insert joke about nightmares here, because next up we got sleep deprivation. As you can imagine, there's pretty much no limit to how creative you can be with the art of sleep deprivation. One tactic commonly used was, breaking their feet and then making them stand on those feet for dozens of hours. You may have realized by now that these guys do not play around. The thing is, these were also interrogation techniques. So often during long interrogations, the subjects would be kept up for days or even weeks. As they're being interrogated, they're constantly being smacked in the face or sprayed with water as they try to drift off to no avail. I have a hard time believing that any information they got from the victim would be of use in any way, especially since as you lose more and more sleep, your brain seems to completely break down from the inside out. Hallucinations, paranoia, increased stress levels, these are not the characteristics of a reliable source of information. The stuff these prisoners went through was completely insane. Like, the CIA often had a high-powered hose on hand, so if they started to drift off at all, well, it's not really an option, is it? Okay, but that hose had a few other uses as well. The one we're talking about now is cold water torture. Your brain's probably working right now to try to imagine what this kind of torture looks like. Well, it's pretty much as horrible as it sounds, but I don't think you'll have imagined anything like this. So of course, one of the main methods they used was good old-fashioned tying your hands to a beam on the ceiling and spraying you with freezing cold water. But the evil geniuses didn't stop there. One of the most common methods they used was spraying you with cold water, then wrapping you in like this plastic wrap that would trap the freezing cold water against your skin. One guy actually died after this whole process was done to him, due to the hypothermia. They drenched him with water, plummeting his body temperature. Then they chained him to a wall in this room that was essentially a dungeon, and then they just left him there overnight. Naturally, when they came back the next day, he had passed on. There was another wacky tactic they used, similar yet distinct to the previous. So they'd get you to lie down in this giant plastic taco looking thing. Then they'd blast you with freezing cold water. Then they'd just keep blasting you. This would lead to hypothermia eventually, but the main issue was that it just didn't feel good at all. And of course, since this one didn't damage you that much, they'd just drag you from the cold water torture straight to any of the other methods that we've gone over in this video. Like for example, walling. This one was commonly used right after prisoners were taken out of their boxes. They would have their hands and feet chained, a collar, generally a plastic towel of some sort, wrapped around their necks. Then they'd be smashed into a wall. Repeatedly. The interesting thing about walling was that it actually wasn't meant to cause pain. It was more of a way to disorient and discombobulate. There was a psychologist working for the CIA that said, if it's painful, you're doing it wrong. Yeah, I can see how this method could be discombobulating in some way. It was more focused on smashing you into the wall to jar you and mess with your inner ear than to give you a concussion or something. It's pretty funny how the CIA goes from, the perfectly sized box to put just enough pressure on their individual muscles to cause extreme pain, to smash them into a wall. It shows you how you really don't need to put that much effort in to be an absolute monster. One of the officials that was asked about it said that walling, quote, involves what may be characterized as rough handling. Like, yeah, no kidding, doofus. How would you like to be smashed into a wall repeatedly with your hands and feet chained? Yeah, exactly. Next up is the one you've probably heard of before, waterboarding. But keep in mind that while you may have heard of it before, you've never seen it done like this. If the CIA knows one thing, it's how to take an existing torture method and take the psychological damage to 100. Normal waterboarding has a person tied to a board with a cloth over their face. Water is then continuously poured over the cloth to make the victim feel like they're drowning. But the CIA takes it to another level. What they've done is angled the board downwards so that your feet are above your head. They've also got this flap that they can adjust to change the tilt of your head. The more upside down you are, the more helpless you feel. They then put the cloth over your face. Water is first applied to the cloth to make it fully soaked. Then, for 20 to 40 seconds, water is continuously applied from a height of 12 to 24 inches. After that is the really clever part. You take the cloth off and allow them 3 to 4 deep breaths. They'll breathe quickly and deeply. This is good. You want them to feel what it's like to breathe. After all, there's no pain without joy. You wouldn't want them to unconsciously give up and let the water enter their lungs. After those 3 to 4 breaths, you slap the cloth back on and start the process again. You can use a watering can or any sort of bottle for this. This method can actually give you brain damage due to the lack of oxygen. It can also make you literally break your own bones in an attempt to escape your bindings. This has happened before. God, you must feel so powerless in this position, which is exactly what they're looking for. See, the end goal of all these techniques is to make you feel helpless as possible. They'll perform these over and over to get rid of the light at the end of the tunnel for you. That's why they waterboarded one guy 183 times after his capture. Damn, the CIA knows their stuff. Now click this video over here. Or else.